The biggest challenge or challenges I think tend to be when I'm hired by somebody at, say, at C level, like a CTO or a COO, and they want to use Agile, but they may want to use it in a forceful type way. So the intention is good, but the implementation we might have a difference of opinion in. And how you overcome that? Well, first of all, you can't always overcome that because it means you have to change people's minds, so you can't. So I think it's a case of raising an awareness to what's important. So getting them to stop thinking about practices, about the things they want to implement, and coming back to the essence of Agile, which is a more principled approach. Getting them to think in a more experimental mindset. In other words, things will fail, things will happen, and as long as they're survivable experiments, that's fine. And finally, the most important thing is to know if you want a transformation, you want to create a change, the people doing the work have to be involved in that change. So we want to try and create engagement over compliance. And you know, this comes down to kind of like exploring mindset with people in leadership, and that can be challenging if somebody's worked in 30, 40 years in a certain way. You do the best you can to raise awareness, and you take it from there. A Scrum Master can wear many hats. They can be a facilitator, they can be a mentor, they can be a coach, they can be a team player, all that good stuff. An Agile coach can also be those things, but the main difference for me is that a coach is somebody who is there to really probe and try and cultivate the landscape for where the team are, okay? They can still mentor, but what they're trying to do is help people come to their own decisions on where they want to go. For me, coaching is more about understanding people's strengths and challenge areas and helping them exercise their abilities to get to their goals. I think Scrum Mastering, there's a hint in the name, is about utilising the Scrum framework, and therefore sometimes there's probably more mentoring which happens, where somebody comes in and says, okay, here are a set of practices, here are a set of values, here are a set of principles, these things can work in these contexts. So they can still do coaching, but I think the Scrum Master role could be at times more focused on mentoring and bringing the Scrum framework to life, whereas the Agile coaching role for me is more about cultivating and helping people come to their own answers for their own problems. And I'm going to contradict that now by saying the Scrum Master can also do that. I would say to never ever resort to force or coercion when it comes to helping people take on change. If you don't have the people engaged when you're talking about transformation and change, you will lose them. So that would be my advice. Engagement over compliance. People like the idea of Agile, but sometimes the reality doesn't always create a pleasing experience. And that's because whether using Scrum or Kanban or just the Agile principles, what often happens is it bubbles all the problems up to the top. And it's like a mirror which shows you all of your dysfunction. And often that can be uncomfortable for the people who have worked in a certain way for a period of time. So I think the key is to be able to deliver that information in an objective, non-judgmental way, and a useful way to say, here are the problems that we can see, and here are some things that we can maybe experiment with to make them better. I see the role of an Agile coach as it is. I mean, Forbes, the Business Harvard Review, and many other well-known publications, and of course many products that we use ourselves in day-to-day life, they're all using some form of the principles for Agile. Okay, So we know from things like the version 1 report of the state of Agile that, for example, Scrum, I don't know, it's getting bigger, as well as Kanban and Lean. So the use geographically, it's being used more outside of the technology industry, so on. I don't ever see it going away as the role itself or the essence, because fundamentally an entity or a change agent that allows you to validate an idea early, to manage risk, gives a voice to the people doing the work to make them intrinsically motivated to be at their best, be able to create a cutting edge product to beat your competitor. I don't ever see any business not wanting these things. So I can see that it's going to be an ongoing role. I do think that the title could change. It could manifest into something. So it could be like a new shell. But fundamentally, I think the essence of a change agent, helping us think empirically, something which allows team members to be empowered, something that embraces servant leadership, I don't see that going away, no.